Well, I got a good 8 hours rest of closing my eyes and staring at the back of my eyelids.
How are you feeling? Like I'm gonna throw up.
I'm ready to seize the day. Yes.
Yay!
Maybe I'll never hit the pain cave.
Yeah. And
I was really wrong.
Thanks for tuning in. Hello, we are Bryce and Jen, or the Average Wanders, or in this case, the Average Runner.
And welcome to our race day video. So we recently ran the Black Canyon 60K ultramarathon for the first time, and we had an entire series on it, and this is our experience with that adventure.
We did 24 weeks of training, and oofda, that was a lot.
Yes.
Bryce is steaming hot this morning.
Jen's been having a tough run here. Got some scratches, scrapes.
I think it was well worth it because it got us through this journey.
Yeah, we needed all of that training and then some. But I gotta say, it was the greatest day in both of our lives. So stay tuned for what that looked like.
And we're gonna dive right into our morning. Only one that had real good sleep is that baby. Good morning.
Good morning. Trying to stretch out.
Getting this 4 a.m. stretch on. Crushing it already.
How did you sleep last night, Jen?
Well, I got a good 8 hours rest of closing my eyes and staring at the back of my eyelids.
It sounds like we got about the same amount of sleep.
And now I'm wired.
Yeah, neither one of us slept at all, really. We just sat there waiting for morning and sweating. And we even went to bed so that we had 7 hours of good restful sleep planned.
And maybe we got 30 minutes.
Yeah, that was rough.
I woke up like this.
I think we both actually finally fell asleep right maybe a half an hour before the alarm went off.
Yeah. Just can't turn the noggin off. It's a powerful machine sometimes.
After we both stretched and got ready, at around 5 a.m. the crew started getting up. So nice of them to wake up at 5 a.m. for our race, because that is crazy.
Yeah, they were so efficient. We had a timeline made up and we gave them times of like, okay, by 5:45 we have to be up, by 5:50 we have to be in the car, by 6 a.m. we have to be on the road. Yes. And I think we even did it before our timelines. So yes. I'm so lucky we had people that were just like on it and as excited as we were to get to the starting. So thank you, crew.
Hearing from most of them, they were also nervous about the race and everything going on. So a lot of them didn't sleep well either.
Some did, some did.
Then we got driving and it was a decent drive. You could go and take the bus all the way from the finish line to the start line. We chose not to do that.
Well, mostly because we have our big boy Kane and we didn't really know what to do with him if we would have drove our van to the finish, because someone would have had to pick him up and it would have been just really a lot of jamble. And also a lot of our friends just wanted to watch us start, so it just made sense that they brought us to the start line.
Yeah.
You had like an Amazon.
Prime me.
My whole body internally is jittering and I don't like it.
Yes.
Just think of it as your practice run.
How are you feeling? Like I'm gonna throw up. Don't get hit by a car.
Oh my god, we hit by a car before we start.
There's Bryce. There he is.
Oh, man.
Walking to the starting line. It's happening.
How you feeling?
It's gonna happen. That's what it's feeling. I gotta get my body ready.
Thumbs up.
Hayes in the barn.
How you feeling?
Cold.
2 minutes away.
Yes, I'm ready to seize the day. Yes, feeling good.
Yeah.
So then after we got to the school, which is where the starting line is, there was a lot of people. There was a lot of bathrooms being used. There was a lot of kind of tension in the air and nervousness, and it was kind of right as the sun was starting to break. So you're starting to get some brightness out there.
I hate the start.
I know.
It's like the worst part.
And people were all just kind of huddled around trying to stay warm for the most part.
Which was really nice. They had like heaters that you could stand under.
Yeah.
I didn't. I just stood frozen and tried to like hit my body to warm itself up. I think it was successful.
Yeah.
How does that look? Do I look pretty?
I mean, with that tape, like, damn. That's so.
You like my basketball brand? Except for Bryce.
Yeah.
It's so mysterious.
Where does it go?
Yeah.
Where does it go? Where does it go?
Only runners.
Only runners. You got injuries?
It really happened fast. I mean, to go from 4 a.m. to the 7:30 start was like a blur. And we had everything laid out. We had a timeline and we had all of our gear packed. I mean, you would have thought 3.5 hours, it would have just dragged on and we would have had more than enough time to get ready. And I would say we had just enough time.
Like we went from the grass onto the dirt track.
Yep.
And then we were just walking across the starting line and we just started. It just felt so bizarre, but the energy was high with everyone.
Yeah.
I would say that was still really good, but it was just a weird momentum to get started because in our other races, we've done previous marathons and I just felt like you kind of knew when to corral, and this it was just kind of like people just went and did it. So.
They blew some horns and and then we just kind of went. So that was a unique experience. And then everyone just did a loop on like a 1/4 mile muddy track. And then we proceeded to just run on some normal roads leading to gravel, because they were all cement initially. And we caught all of the people that were trying to drive to work at the same time and didn't maybe know there was a race going on. So they were idling at running pace for most runners, which was pretty slow.
Or for the runners, it was pretty fast.
I would have hated to be those people stuck in traffic though. That was miserable, and they should have maybe blocked off the roads or something, I don't know.
But we definitely felt really exhausted in the beginning. If you know what I mean.
So after we passed a lot of the traffic and the normal paved roads, we eventually hit some gravel roads. Everyone was just kind of using those few miles in the beginning, since they were nice and wide, to kind of pass people, find your pace, find your group, and just kind of get stretched out.
I'm happening. And we're feeling.
Dad.
Okay, good.
I'm taking you with me. Ken's Tiki Bar.
I thought you said you feel dead.
No.
Okay, he feels good.
Yeah.
And Ken's feeling great.
I'm doing it for Long Island's at Ken's Tiki Bar.
That'll happen in June, so I got it.
Our one and only sponsor.
Thanks, Dad.
I think initially I would have questioned why we were on roads like that, not just starting at like a trailhead or something, but that was great because it really helped us kind of pick our pace and pick our group that we were going to be running at least the beginning of the race with and pass people easily. And then eventually we climbed up and hit our first piece of single track.
And this was our first time running with other people on single track. This was a huge group of people on one little piece of trail, and normally Bryce and I would run together. We'd be pretty spaced out, so it's not like we were kind of clipping heels unless he was behind me because he's so fast. For me, that was quite the learning curve because there's someone right in front of you, and then you have bumpy trail, and then you have someone like super close behind you, and if you were to trip, you would just trip onto the person in front of you, or the person behind you would just run over you. And it was kind of making me like a little dizzy to watch my feet, the trail, everything around me.
In a line of people, you can't really pass because it's single track, and if you did pass, you have to pass the whole group. You can't just pass one person, right?
How you feeling, Bryce? 6 miles in.
Good so far.
Whoop whoop. Feel sunshine, and it feels great. First 7 miles was all pretty new to us, and so we didn't really know what to expect. And the beginning of the race was actually quite cattle broke, where I think it was mostly cattle trail that cows travel on. So it was pretty bumpy and loose and soft.
It was definitely an ankle twister. When I was first looking at the trail, I anticipated that it was going to be basically downhill all the way to Bumblebee, and then we were going to get a climb and then some downhill and then switchbacks toward the end. I was just surprised how much climbing there was in the beginning of the race versus what I actually saw in the elevation chart.
I don't remember anything because I was blissed out of my mind.
Yeah, she was having a great time. And it was beautiful. That part of the canyon we hadn't really seen before, and it was right when the sun was coming out over the mountains, and it was like just beautiful, glorious views.
Yeah, well, you're on top of like the plateau of the canyon, and you can just see all the mountains in the distance. And that week it had a lot of rain, so up there had a lot of snow, and it was beautiful. It was definitely something that helped make the run go faster, because you were just either staring at the people in front of you, staring at your feet, or staring at snow-covered mountains.
First aid station.
So then the first aid station we made it to was Antelope Mesa, and we were pretty surprised how much food they have at these aid stations.
Oh my God, yeah.
And I think we overpacked ourselves.
It was good to pack so that you have your own food that you can consistently eat. You're not testing new things. Where we did one of those errors, right? Error number one is we did eat some random stuff at the aid stations because it just looked good. You know, we didn't really test with pickles during the race. You know, a couple other things like that we tried. And I left each aid station feeling heavier than I should have, where I think in retrospect, I would grab like one thing, you know, whatever it is, because the portions are very small, have another thing in my bag, and then after maybe another half an hour of running, then eat another thing, versus just kind of gorging yourself.
Or you grab all the free samples and then pack your girlfriend in the back with them so she can carry them all the way to your crew and then empty them out.
Yeah, that worked great.
I think it was his way of sandbagging me. It was a really good insight to seeing what the aid stations had, because I think when we were training, we just didn't really know like what foods to even really eat on the trail. So I think this gave us really good insight for if we were to do another one, we can try those types of foods, and then we might be familiar with other aid stations, so it's not like a surprise when we come and eat that food.
Well, and now we're stocked up on goos from this race for the next one.
Yeah, hundreds of goos.
So after Antelope, we continued to run at a pretty significantly fast pace, and we're cooking. Yep, that was all Jen. She was in the lead, and I was telling her, slow down. We don't want to break rule number 2 that most people make, which is coming out too hot. And we were just... we were just cruising. But after the first aid station, it really broke up the groups. So I really appreciated that. Then we weren't just staring at people and in this large, you know, Congo line. Pretty soon, I mean, we blinked and we were coming up on the next aid station.
Which was awesome, because our friends were there with signs they handmade and cheering us on, and it just gave us like a power boost. Woo! Doing it!
You guys are all right, I guess. Don't die.
But it was just awesome to see their faces and then have another reason of like, okay, we have to get to Bumblebee. So that was just so rewarding to have their cheering for us, even though cheering is aiding.
Yeah, that was a super fun experience. It's a shame that we just kind of had to blow through them, because we were still trying to really focus on getting through aid stations quick at that point, which we'll talk about soon. That fell off pretty quickly. So we had came up on Hidden Treasure aid station, and from there we just kind of ran back the last one. I stocked Jen up with some goos that were stolen, and then we each grabbed a few things and then just went on our way. And at that point, I was feeling really good, because now we're on miles that we've ran a lot during training.
Yeah.
And it was like, okay, now I know what I'm in for, right? And we were both feeling so good at that aid station. It was like, maybe we can really do this.
Yeah.
So after we left Hidden Treasure, we were at a pretty darn fast pace. And as you know, in the training leading up to the ultra, I was nursing a left ankle injury that was not super bad. I knew I could run on it, but what I had not anticipated is because of NASCAR Jen and her pace, and we were going faster than we expected by about 1.5 minutes or 2 minutes per mile.
About 17 miles in, and a little ankle tweak. We're pushing it the best we can. Bryce is doing great. Yeah, we just gotta make it to Bumblebee. So we're about 2.5 miles out. So hopefully that'll give us some reprieve. Whew. It's a hot one.
I think I was coming down with too much force on my right ankle and trying to compensate for the left one being a little bit injured. And so then I started to develop a shin splint for like the first time I've ever had in my life, which I'm so sorry for any of you that have developed a shin splint. I didn't realize how painful they were. At the very beginning, it just was kind of a nuisance, and I was like, what is this? And then as we ran on, especially mile 14 forward, I started to really start to baby it because it was getting more and more painful, and I didn't know how to proceed. So we basically ran up until Bumblebee aid station at that point, and I came limping into the aid station.
But I think you did really good, especially having like a mental blocker that early on.
I wasn't worried about finishing the race at that point. I was just thinking, okay, maybe I was overly confident. We were doing a lot of the fatal errors that people say don't do, and that we had been informed by many people on many form boards and just all my research, friends, family, anyone that had done ultras.
But like, you kind of have to learn that on your own. Like, you can listen to as much advice as you want, but until you're in the moment, you just have to learn through experience.
I guess so.
Go Donna Bryce! You're doing awesome! You're elite! You're elite! Woo! Yeah!
We love the fire.
Oh my God, you
Woo! How do you feel?
Good.
It's good, it's good.
Up on the salt.
I'm only a little salty, but a little sweet too.
We were planning on spending between our estimate, so
yours?
mine was 10, Jen's was 20 at Bumblebee, right? So it was the only crewing station. And so all of our friends were there, everyone's excited to see us, we're super excited to see everyone, and we were kind of taking our time eating. We wanted to KT tape my leg. Luckily we only had pink tape, so that was fun. But we had to wash my foot, wash my leg. Jen had a blister that was forming on her foot. We had to take her shoe off and scrub her foot so that the tape would actually stick to that.
It didn't.
Don't buy your KT from Target.
No. Our crew did a really awesome job of setting up all of our stuff. I mean, they had to kind of guess what to set up because we didn't really go over that part in the crewing because we also didn't know what we needed.
Yeah. Said just bring our bag with all our gear and chairs. And that's pretty much exactly what they did, and that was perfect.
With some snacks, which we appreciate.
Yeah.
They were really attentive. They were sitting at the edge of their seat if we needed something, always asking what we needed. And so they did a really excellent job. They are the best crew.
Oh man, yeah. We should hire them out.
This is really what it's like to run an ultra.
Cheers.
Right, smile and cheers.
Oh, now I got food all in my mouth.
To a wedding.
How's it go?
Where the person who was
It's the new Wyatt. It's not salt, it's sunscreen.
And shout out to Caroline for sitting there and giving us updates on you've been here 10 minutes, you've been here 20 minutes, a half hour, 40 minutes. We were there for over 40 minutes, which is crazy.
And we also don't know if that's appropriate.
No,
so
I don't think it is, because anyone we came in with was gone.
How are you feeling?
Oh, I feel super good right now. Way better than in training. I forgot what I said first time.
Perfect. Bryce, how are you feeling?
Awesome. Yeah.
Really?
Ready to finish.
I'm just kidding. He is doing awesome.
And so then we hit the bathrooms and then got on our way. On our first hill climb, there was a lot of sun and it was midday at this point, right? So we're around noon and the KT tape just falls off my leg. So I tear that off, throw it in the pack, and just know that, all right, I'm gonna be injured for the rest of this race and I just have to make do.
Look at him go. 21 miles in. He's doing good. Even with tweaked ankle and shin splints, he's prevailing forward.
Jen is seizing the day. Dominating. Unstoppable. Maybe no pain cave for her, who knows?
So then after the Bumblebee aid station, we headed to Gloriana aid station, and that stretch is 5 miles in between. And I think it was kind of nice that it was a shorter break too, just to get kind of reacclimated, especially after having 40 minutes and shoving our faces with food. We needed time to kind of walk it off, because the belly bloat was real.
Yes.
And the concoctions of sugar, salt, and liquid is brewing something in there for me. I was just like, oh my God. That was probably the only struggle I really had, was like initially after each aid station, I was just like, what did I do to myself? And then I was like, whoa, it was energy. And then I felt good afterwards. And then we came up on Gloriana aid station, which had a lot of ice water you could dump on your head.
That was amazing.
Oh, it felt so good, especially because there was zero cloud cover that day. The sun was strong.
Yep.
It's chugging along.
Yeah, it's starting to get hard now.
We can do it. Right?
Oh yeah, we got it.
I told him to give me positive affirmations, not I guess. So we are strong and we are doing great.
Yes. So at that aid station, I would say that the shin splint was feeling pretty darn rough. I wasn't at a low or anything. I was still feeling like emotionally good, but knew that like this is gonna be a grind, because we've already ran that distance, so we knew what we were in for, and the second half of the race is significantly harder than the beginning.
After we left Gloriana aid station, we had a little over 7 mile stretch to Soap Creek, and it was the longest stretch, also in the hottest part of the day.
That part was miserable. If I had to define the most challenging part of the race, it was certainly that section.
We are entering the dreaded downhill that is super sketchy, but what this downhill doesn't know is that we're crushing it. We have completed our first trail marathon within our ultra, and I have to say, we're crushing it. Look at that guy back there. He's killing it. He's going through.
Doesn't feel like it.
He's going through a lot. Going through a lot of pain, and you keep going. That's a lot of strength. So awesome job.
Yeah.
What we didn't account for during that section was the amount of walking we were gonna do.
Right.
So when we were walking, we were just drinking more liquid in general because we just had more time, and we probably drank it a little too fast.
Yeah, I thought the aid station was gonna come up on us a little bit sooner than it did. I would say it was probably around mile 29 where I was starting to feel really down, and then we had a river crossing, and that was a fun experience. And actually the water felt great, I think, on our feet.
The water felt so good.
And so we got through that. We started doing switchbacks out of the canyon, out of the river.
With sloppy wet feet.
And yeah, and we were prepared for that. We'd went through it, but we knew we had now 12 more miles at a pretty slow pace. So we were gonna be wet for a long time. So I was trying to just like, you know, consider that mentally, because it was just like, I just gotta keep moving forward. And my feet hurt, my leg hurts, my body hurts.
Yeah, there was too much to keep track of, so wet feet was the last thing on our minds.
Yeah, and I thought it would cause a lot of blisters, and even after running and being in them that long, I had like one small blister, so I got really lucky there. So eventually I hit my like pain cave, right, which is kind of what I anticipated and signed up for, because I hit that in my first marathon, and now I was happy that at least I'd pushed way past a normal marathon, was into new miles for me, and was hitting that. But still, it's not a good place to be. And being as we ran out of water, and I don't think I had put in enough food at that point, even though we described like we're overly full.
It wasn't dispersed throughout.
Right. I was feeling pretty lethargic, and then Jen surprised me and said, hey, we have a note that our crew, best crew in the world, put together. It was a pain cave note. So we're supposed to read it whenever we hit the pain cave.
Our crew made welcome to the pain cave. Someone's in the pain cave.
Yeah, I think officially now at mile 30. Oh, I'm ready to read the letter.
All right.
Going pretty down.
Sorry, my camera's all sweated out. Is it helping you?
Everyone at our camp, our moms, our friends, even Kane,
Yeah.
signed our note and wrote something about, you know, just an inspirational note for us. I put it off and put it off and put it off, and then eventually, I think it was maybe mile 30, I'm like, man, I feel the worst I have ever felt running, and am completely lethargic and limping. I'm like, man, I have 7 miles left. This is brutal. And we're trying to beat the cutoff time of 12 hours and trying to beat the sunlight for a secret that comes up later. And so I'm just like, I don't know what to do. And so then we bust out the note, and I'm not a very emotional guy, if you can't tell. I was almost in tears. It was really, really heartwarming and really hit home. So thank you guys for putting that together, because that was special.
But the climb up to Soap Creek, man, that was brutal. I must not do well with climbing or elevation. I don't know.
Yeah, we maybe could have used some stair mill training. We saw a lot of people looking pretty rough at that point.
But that aid station was my favorite. And
Yes.
the people at the aid station were just electric energy, so kind, so generous, giving you all what you needed, lots of words of encouragement. And I think they knew, because they were the last hope and the last aid station.
Yeah.
And it just felt really good leaving that aid station, knowing we only have about like 6-ish miles to the finish line. So it was literally like the home stretch.
And the way that I felt there is kind of rejuvenated. Like, we got hit with a bunch of cold water, put in a ton of water and Gatorade, we put in some food, and then it was kind of amazing, because after walking out of that station, I basically, the lethargy was gone, and I was feeling pretty darn good. And at that point, I'm like, game on. Okay, I'm over the hurdle. I'm gonna run on this leg, and it's just gonna have to make do with whatever I put it through. And there'd been enough pain where eventually my mind was starting to turn it off. We're just gonna have to deal with it, right?
We just left our last aid station, which to get there was quite a journey. It was definitely felt like the longest stretch of our life, mostly because it's been so hot and we ran out of water. And of course Bryce was drinking mine. Just kidding. But no, he really was. And he's crushing it. He's just pushing forward, and forward is progress. That's all that matters. And I'm incredibly proud of him.
And this foolish idea that around in the 20s, like, man, maybe I'll never hit the pain cave.
Yeah. And
I was really wrong. Oh, I was wrong.
hey, well, you hit the pain cave in your 30s,
Oh, yeah.
so that's pretty good.
And then we just started kind of having the most fun of the entire race, in my opinion. We were starting to get kind of giddy because the scenery really picks up. There is a lot of switchbacks. There's another really large river crossing, but we knew where we were at and how close we were to the finish. We were just kind of having good conversation the whole time. That was super fun.
I could really tell your clarity opened up, because I was like, all right, here we go. Here's my running partner. We're having a good time. It's always hard when someone's in their darkest moments and you're trying to be cheerful and happy, and they're just like, and you're just like, okay, we're just gonna keep going through. I know you're gonna push through it, and I know how you feel when I'm hangry. So I did that for you.
Glad you were there for me, because it really helped push me along in both cases, both marathons.
Yeah.
So I'd like to be on the other side of it at some point, but still.
I think through the training you were.
Okay, I guess that's
I don't think I was
true.
the best ray of sunshine through our training.
That's true.
You were the one to uplift me.
We both had our moments.
We always joked during training that on our runs, one person always feels really terrible and the other one feels really good. But I think that's a really good combination in some extent, because you need the other person to help get you through it and pull you out of that mindset.
Yeah.
So I'm just sorry that it was you this time that drew the short straw.
That's all right. It's a coin flip.
All right, we've reached mile
32 for you, Caroline.
Caroline, that was supposed to happen at 32, but we actually just reached 34. So we're a little delayed on that. But mile 32 was for Caroline and her even birthday.
Right.
That was yesterday. Whoop, whoop.
Yes.
Also, we're doing Caleb's Ultra 5K right now. That's all we have left.
That's all we have left. The same that Caleb ran. The ultra distance 5K runner.
Caleb, thank you for inspiring us to try a 5K ultra. We really appreciate you. If you can do it, we can do it.
Yep.
All right, home stretch, baby.
All right, let's do it. I don't think my brain is operating on all cylinders right now. So.
All right, mine is, so woo woo, let's do it.
This is our nemesis from the training run. It's back again, and this time I'm not running up it.
Nope, we're walking.
Yep.
And that's what's happening. We got our friend Canada up there. She's crushing it down.
I'm trying to beat her, but she's killing it. I don't think I'm gonna be able to do it.
No.
But I challenged her to a foot race here at the end to keep us both motivated because we're both injured.
Oh.
She's dominating me. Jen's showing off here. Still able to run after 35 miles. And I quote, "I feel good." So maybe we should just try the 100K. Sign her up. Woo!
But look at that ultra shuffle. He is moving his body forward. He is feeling no pain.
I've mastered the technique that I see on people doing 200-mile races.
Yeah, he's doing great. We're just heading down to the last river crossing, and it'll feel good to have our feet cold. I can't wait. All right, made it to our last river crossing. Man, it looks pretty.
Wipe off the sweat.
Oh, this feels good. So the last challenge we knew we had was an awful switchback at the end, and then a switchback down it. But you could hear the people cheering at the end. You could see little glimpses of the finish line.
Yes.
And so that just like gave us a spark of hope that we were gonna make it. And I was looking at our watch and tracking us, and we had initially said that we wanted to finish in 10 hours, and we were kind of getting close to it. So I was like, okay, we gotta like,
yeah, we gotta pick it up.
we gotta pick it up,
Yeah.
and it would be so awesome if we could finish before 10 hours. We decided at the end we were gonna put our trek poles away when we got close, and we were gonna do the cliche thing of holding hands and running to the finish, which I thought was perfect. It was such a great piece of energy, and I just thought it brought us good closure to wrap up our first ultra together, and making sure that you stayed behind me so I could finish and I could really hold on to your hand.
Oh, I was trying to throw you behind me.
Oh, I was trying to lurch myself forward. Just kidding.
Hold my trek pole out.
Yeah. We're not competitive at all.
No.
Yeah! Woo!
Good job, Jen.
Thank you. I appreciate the time.
I'm very dirty.
You're very salty.
Yeah.
Here, let's go over here.
Man, it was just the best feeling of accomplishment of just crossing that finish line, and it was something I felt so proud of over any of the races I've ran.
Oh, it's so awesome.
Well, it's because I got to do it with you.
Oh, so sappy. After we crossed the line, I had planned this moment out for like 5 months. So it was so exciting to see it all take place, because I was working with a few people behind the scenes and whatnot, and then this occurred.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Yeah.
I had zero idea this was gonna happen, and I knew the moment that he felt committed to me when he got down on a knee after running 37 miles.
I didn't think I could do it, but I was so nervous that I don't even remember squatting down.
Really? Wow.
It just happened so quick, but I'm glad that we were able to capture it on video to know that it did occur.
My mind, from finishing the ultra to a proposal, I blanked out everything. There was just so much that was happening. It was almost like a good traumatic moment where later pieces were coming to me and be like, oh yeah, that happened, you said this, and it was great to like have that video, recall that beautiful moment, and I'm so grateful that you did it. You chose that time.
It was perfect.
It was perfect.
Well, and our friends Caleb and Amy are amazing photographers. They mostly film elopements and do videos, so shout out to them. They took all these amazing pictures and video that you're probably seeing now, and it was just too perfect. So we got in before dark, so the lighting was on point.
Now I realize why he wanted to keep up the pace and the timing, and I'm so grateful that we got there on time.
Yeah, as am I. Couldn't have worked out better. It was the best day of our lives. I could not believe, I mean, we were probably just running on pure excitement and energy from our friends and family and everyone that saw the proposal and yelled. So I wasn't even that tired. I was ready. I was like ready to party and ready to shower and ready to celebrate.
It was just the best day ever. I was completely blissed out of my mind for sure. And then we got to end the night with an awesome ultra fiesta, and our friends got together a taco bar and we had a massive fire and we just could relax and kind of unwind a little bit and process what happened, because even our crew needed time to process what happened because they were just also flying high. We're also really excited to talk about their crewing experience on our friend Amy and Kayla's podcast that will also link down below, or maybe show it on our YouTube channel.
Yeah, it could be.
So stay tuned. But yeah, it was just really good to be able to kind of celebrate, talk through everything with everyone.
Yes.
And it was an amazing time.
I mean, it was exactly like if I had to draw it out in my head, which I fantasized about this day for months. It was exact. It checked every box. It was perfect.
Yeah, and you can't ask for more.
No.
I think the biggest question, at least we asked ourselves or other people have asked, would you do it again?
Oh, absolutely.
Yes.
I cannot wait.
I think what I'm most excited about is that we were able to travel on our feet almost 40 miles.
Yeah.
And we were able to sustain ourselves and have energy afterwards. And I think that was the most exciting part about this ultra. And so of course I want to do another one, and another one that's even longer.
Yeah, we're searching out a 50 miler. Not Colorado, we're not ready for you yet, Colorado.
As I said earlier, I don't know if I'm a person for elevation.
We need to train more.
Yeah, we need a lot more steps to climb.
So maybe like, let's say an entry-level 50 miler. If anyone has any suggestions, please put them in the comments below. We would love to hear your advice.
Because remember, we're only average runners.
Or in this case, we finished far below average.
Well, we're an average ultra runner.
So I was anticipating after our ultra that I would feel similar to how I felt during the first marathon. Horrible. Like my knees would be aching, my back's hurting, like everything was hurting. How did you feel?
Well, I've ran 8 marathons, and I know from experience after each marathon, I actually felt better each time, but I've never ran an ultra, so this was a lot more miles. But I also wasn't anticipating during the ultra to feel super awesome with zero pain, but it did catch up to me. I definitely had a lot of lactic acid built up.
Sure.
But I wasn't like so uncomfortable. The only time where I really knew that I was super sore was going downstairs. I tried it and I was like instantly nope, and I had to like peg leg it down the stairs. But other than that, laying in a bed felt really good.
And I anticipated, like I said, to feel absolutely horrible. Besides my leg, which did hurt, but was feeling better each day, and as soon as I took ibuprofen, it was pretty much like 50% better. The stairs and knees thing was pretty brutal. I'm not like the lightest runner by any means, so like it was pretty hard on my knees. I would say if it wasn't for the leg injury, 2 days after the race, we were talking like we could have ran again. That's really good, at least for me mentally, to know that, so that next time when we're running a longer race, we can feel like, okay, well, we definitely didn't take ourselves to the absolute limit, you know?
Yeah, we didn't stretch our boundaries. So I think we did a really good job with this ultra, even though we definitely made mistakes, but I think they were mistakes well worth it, so we can learn from them and not do them in our next ultra.
Yeah, agreed.
There's one thing I know you guys contributed to our recovery process, and that was uplifting our minds and spirit throughout this whole training, throughout our race day, through your lovely comments and support.
Yes, thank you everyone that followed, comment, liked, watched any of our videos, gave us advice. I mean, I cannot believe how many of you were helping us out on this journey. And thank you for our friends and family and the crew and just everyone. I mean, you guys made the greatest day of our lives.
Yeah.
And it was so special, and I feel just honored that we were able to capture it and show it and share it and have this moment for us to look back on years from now. It was amazing. So thank you for everything.
Yes, and it's been so fun to share our journey with you guys, and you've helped us be super consistent, because if we weren't having a good time filming ourselves running and your support, I don't know if we would have had this successful of a training period.
I completely agree. There is some level of accountability to putting yourself out there on the internet. So if you do want to help further elevate our channel, we did start a Patreon. This is a very small channel, as you know, and we are not monetized in any way. So any of your Patreon proceeds would go toward races, film production that will help elevate this channel.
And because of Patreon, it'll give you a better viewing experience. But if that's not for you, we still love having you here with us.
So thanks everyone for enjoying our Black Canyon 60K. It was, like we said, the best day of our life. We love sharing it with you, and hopefully you enjoyed watching it as much as we did filming it.
And if you would like to come with us on another training journey, let us know down in the comments. Like we said, we don't have very good judgment. Thank you for running with us, and we can't wait to see you on the next one.
Bye guys.
Also, the Nicolas Cage is going strong.
I'm proud of you guys.
I believe in you. Run for Taco!
Yay!
Oh my god!
That's his fingers.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's so
Oh, that's a lot of
Sit down, obviously.
Trying to keep up with NASCAR Jen here today.
NASCAR Jen.
She's
We
fine.
keep like tracking you, and we were like, oh god,
I was thinking
in my bag, not his. By the way, he's ample room.
Which he has like nothing in his bag. I checked this morning.
He also put his water in your bag.
Oh, yeah, that's right.